Here we are on part 2 of the HALLICRAFTERS S-107. It's all been recapped. Alright, we got all the caps in. We even got that one that was really hard to get at. But I got it in. It wasn't easy. There's a safety cap in here. We have a we have to go over this switch and find out. This is a speaker and earphone switch. When you switch it, it does not switch out the speaker, so I'm not sure what the problem. Am I on camera? It's probably not. What the problem is, but I do know that because of all this rusted, about 3/4 of an inch, as I said, on the inside and outside, which it's all been aluminum paint on it. Now, the rivet that was in here was rusted right out, so there's only one rivet holding this switch. Let's see, where am I here? Right here. Okay. So I can put a 440 screw and nut in there, but I want to check out that switch first. Because this was worked on at one time. And there is something up here. It looks like a fuse. I don't know what it is. It's got like a flat. You might not be able to see it. In fact, I can't even see it. I did see it under a powerful magnifying glass. It's not a wire. I think it's something flat in there. Yeah, here it is right there. Yeah. Anyways, I'm sorry. I just can't show you. I just can't get that close. Take my word for it. It's not a wire. It's a flat ribbon or something in there. I don't know whether there's a fuse under here or what. I really don't know. It goes to one of these jacks out in the back here. And I am not sure. Where am I here? Oh, man. I don't know what goes in here. One is a headphone. I don't know what the other is. And this is a headphone and speaker plug. I have to get the book out, and the book, the schematic and the book, I have the manual on this, is underneath the Philips radio, and I don't feel like digging it out right now. I replaced all the caps, the values that were in there, the tiny chiefs. So whatever was in there, I replaced them, and they were original anyways. Here are the tiny chiefs. This one here, Sagamo or something like that, I don't know. That was on the audio output tube. I didn't get the tube manual out to see what pin it was on. I just replaced them, and I cut the leads, as you can see. I cut them very, very close to the body. This one was on tone control, I believe, and I wiggled it around and managed to get it off. The others I just cut real close to the body, and then put a hook in the remaining lead that's still on the rest in the radio, and put a hook in it, and you know, attach them that way. The mistake I made is trying to clean out this switch to try to put this capacitor right in there. And I was very careful. I was under a high magnification, and I ended up cutting half the terminal off. See how long this one is and how short that is? This is one of the biggest reasons why, as you can see here, I leave the lead on, whether it be a tube socket, a switch, or whatever. Put a hook in the lead from the old component, put a hook in the new component, and match them that way. Hook and pinch. This is why. Because every time, same with tube sockets, I try to clean the pin out, and I nibble out with the nippers, and I cut half the pin off. So, this is why I always hook and pinch. The only time I'll solder in a tube socket, or right directly to a tube socket pin, is if there's a hole there already that I can stick the component in. If it has a component on it, I will simply cut it close to the old component, put a hook in this part, cut the lead short on the new component, put a hook in that, and do it that way. And you'll see how I did most of my work here. And I think it came out pretty good. So, I did not test the resistors yet. I shook the chassis around every direction. There's a lot of nip-offs. In other words, when I put a capacitor in, and after I solder, hook and pinch, and the lead is sticking up in the air, I'll nip it off, but I can't do it without a magnifying glass, and I have to get my face right on top of it. So here I am holding the magnifier in the nipper, and a lot of times I can't even do it that way. I have to cut them. In other words, I can't put a needle nose on it to catch the long lead that I need to snip off. I can't do it. So it falls down into the chassis in amongst the wiring, and I'm hoping that there aren't any shorts in here. I went over this with my magnifier all over with high intensity light, and I'm hoping there is no pieces left in here. I'm going to fire this up. Okay, we're hooked up to the dim bulb. The bypass switch is turned off. So, let's turn it on. Alright, we're looking good. Unless I shorted something out, it should work. Let me put the warm up here. Huh. It's glowing. I had cleaned these sockets. I only got a little bit of wire on here. Let me put it to the variac. Isolation transformer humming away. By the way, I hooked this up so that the isolation transformer is directly connected to the line, and the variac panel is being fed from the output of the isolation transformer. All right, let's turn that up. Watch our current here. We're at 90 volts. $200 mils. I think we can crank that up to 118. 400 mils. Well, band E, whatever band E is, let's see, is dead. Band D is 14 to 31. Okay, that's the high end. This has CW and AM, but this does not have a BFO, and I just noticed that. Unlike the HALLICRAFTERS S86 that I have, it does not have a BFO control on it. Only a CW and AM. Pretty quiet, and there's no squelch on it. Not too much. As I recall, I think it was pretty dead up here anyway. So let's go to band C. Band C would be 6.4 to 16 megacycles. Of course, we're getting, all we got is this here little piece of wire right now. I don't like to play around with the dial too much. I don't want that dial cord to break. One thing's for sure, the band spread, which is right here, I had to play around with these and bend them left and right, but they seem to be okay now. It shorts out when it's almost totally closed. I have to look on the book and see whether this is, see? So we'll just leave that just a little open so it doesn't short out here. Let's go to, this don't sound good. There should be some hissing. I got the volume all the way up. Oh, it should be hissing like a banshee. It should be picking up static at least. It's pretty dead. The tubes are good, because I had, one of my first orders that I put into Bob Dubush was for this radio, tube order. So I had replaced any tubes that needed to be replaced. Okay, I'm getting a little more life. I just added a little wire to it over there. And this is primarily where I like to listen to 3.5 to 4. Usually right around in here, 3885, 3875. So we'll try it out tonight. This is only it's only 1 o'clock in the afternoon now. Alright, so let's A, I think is, let's see, we're on B now. A is the broadcast band. That's the broadcast band. We should have around 1300. I should have my local station. Right in here. Let me see if I can get some better. I got too many lights going here. Let me turn these lights off. Alright, we're going to turn that down here with copyright Nazis. We're 14, over 14. This station's supposed to be 1310. So, there's no trimmers on the tuning condenser. I'm sorry if it's a little dark in here. I only got one light on here trying to knock this interference out. So, in order to get even standard broadcast, you're going to have a long wire antenna on this. And then it'll be kind of difficult to run this in the house. I got to replace the pilot light on this side. So, let me turn this back up. I'll get it off that station. I got to clean the switches. This is the CW and AM. It's not all that sensitive. There's the sensitivity controls all the way up. That's a standby. Oh, not made the light come on. How about that? So we got a loose connection in there. Okay. It's the band spread here, down at the bottom.
House passes this unanimously. I've already reached out to the Speaker and to Kevin McCarthy on the sense of urgency. The American workers and American public and American business, they need the money now.
Mexico's President Manuel Lopez Obrador is telling citizens not to return from the United States because he fears they'll spread the virus.
Right. The real test for this, for listening to shortwave would be at night, of course, and I'm going to be doing that. So, see, the next band would be this thing here is loose because the screws that go in here that hold this into the case that I took out normally holds this steady, and if you pull these knobs off, you can get it. I was almost going to order the Bristol spline, but they're $19 and $20. I'm not paying that. There's Bristol spline Allen wrenches that they use in these things. There was a sale on them a couple months ago on eBay, and of all the times the seller was on vacation. This is before all this coronavirus crap came out, and it was like $12 and something, and I was going to order them a set, but not at $19, $20. No way. I'll use regular Allens in there. I don't know what this has, whether these have what they call a Bristol spline. I think Brendan's the one that told me about those, and he gave me a link to it, but I had bookmarked it, but they shot up now that the guy's back off of vacation, well over a month ago. It shot up to $20, so I'm not going to get it. Just for one radio, no. I can't be spending that kind of money right now. So, in order to do anything, which I really don't need to take these knobs off anyways, not necessary, because when I put these screws back in here in the case, this will be solid. It won't be flopping around like this anymore. It's really a pain in the ass. This thing keeps going up and down every time I tune it. Pretty dead. I know the band would be dead this time of the day. It's not very convenient for me to get it onto the outside antenna. I'd have to unhook stuff and put a clip lead on the coax up there in order to get it on my outside antenna. Volume's all the way up on this. Sensitivity's all the way up. Don't make much difference when I touch this. Usually definitely need some more work, that's for sure. Electrolytic is ice cold. That's the original. Just make sure that the band spread isn't. I hope not. I only use cash. Except when I get gas, do our grocery shopping. My brother's shopping. He don't have a credit card. Cash, baby, cash. All right. The band spread's a different dial cord. Let's see, where are we at here? Band C. Six. Never get WWV on any of my radios. Not in this area. So WWV would be at 10 megacycles here, and 15, you don't get it. Oh, well, that's it, folks. I'll be working on this tonight, listening. But for now, this concludes part number 2. I will be checking resistors and give you a report on that in part number 3. And also, in part number 3, I will be adding the night reception I get. So tonight, I will be testing it out for night reception and making the recording for part number 3. So we'll find out how it does at night. The Aero ear worked quite well on 80-meter band with simple wire like this. So if the Aero ear can do it, which is right up there, this should be able to. And the tubes are good. Thanks for watching.